So if you consider buying yourself a stage cylinder, whether it be for a bailout, decompression gas, or just purely because you can't carry enough gas on your back, well, in this video I'll be showing you how to configure your regulators so it works easily, safely and quickly when you need it. Hi, I'm Andy Non-Diver and welcome to another episode of this series of scuba diving tutorials where I'll be showing you how to configure your regulators for a staged cylinder setup. If it's the first time here then, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below, that way you can see all the other videos we've got in this series. Next to that you see a little bell icon, clicking that, it'll give you a notification every time we post a new video. So if you don't have an account, you won't be able to do that, so I've posted a link up here that'll take you to a video that I've made. It'll take you 2 minutes to set up an account. In doing that you can like, comment and subscribe to all the videos that you watch on YouTube, and you can even set up your own channel. Make sure you stick around to the end where I'll be giving you my top tip. So for this configuration you're going to need an aluminium stage cylinder, whether it be a 7 or an 11 litre, doesn't really make much difference in this. But I've already showed you on a previous video how to configure the rigging kit. I'll put a link up here if you haven't seen that so you know how to do it properly. But for this setup you're going to need a first and second stage regulator. With a slight change to what you would normally have on there is we've got a very short, so a 6-inch high pressure hose to your gauge, which is sort of bound up there. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. We've got your normal low pressure inflation hose with the same connector so you can click it straight onto your dry suit. And then we've got a 1 meter hose going to the second stage regulator. That way it's not too big, not too short, so you can deploy it around the back of your head. And on that regulator we've got a necklace, because some people like to have it mounted all the time just in case there is a bailout issue of your own back gas. You can just deploy this straight away. And it's most important to make sure that whichever side that cylinder is going on, the valve handle is on the outside edge of that. It just makes it so much easier for you to turn on and off with whatever side that hand's on. In addition to that then, you can see I've got a couple of hose retaining bands. These are just really basic. You can buy quite high-end ones with your name on them, different colours, you name it. But these are just some really basic, a couple of quid from the dive shop. Other things you could use then is sometimes you'll find on your hood that the neck's very long. So some people cut a couple of inches off there. That's really good to go around there, works really well. Grips onto the cylinder quite sort of securely, so it doesn't slide up and down. So as I said, we've got a 1 meter hose on there, and I've put a necklace on just so I can have it on around my neck all the time, just to make it really easy. What you don't want is too long, so as you're diving it sort of drops and droops. You don't want it too tight that it's pressed up against your neck. So just get it to your configuration, it's really nice. Some people even put a 90-degree elbow on here, just allows the configuration of hose much neater and tidier, so there's no sort of significant bend in the hose because it is quite short in its configuration. So the 90-degree obviously tidies that up quite nicely. So when talking about the gauge, it's quite nice to just put a zip tie around there just to hold that in. Some people use a bit of a bungee cord in case it does take a knock, it's not going to break so easily and it stays in position. What I'm not a massive fan of is this kink, because it's quite detrimental to the hose. You know, it's not supposed to be bent like that. So you could either buy a much longer one, so this being about 5 or 6 inches, you could buy a 7 or 8 inch length one, much like we'd have on a side mount configuration. Have that drooping down and just recover it when you want to look at it and let it go. So I would like to stow this away neat and tidy is using the bungee that's on the second stage regulator, is locate the regulator up against the side of the valve and getting the bungee, come around underneath the handle and just clip it over the exhaust ports. That keeps it nice and neat. And then using the hose retaining bands, stow the hose straight down the cylinder and right next to the handle, not to be confused with the handle when you're carrying the cylinder, but the handle's there and the hose is just to the side, and you can carry that nice and safely now to the dive site. So that's how you configure the regulators for a staged cylinder that you're using for either bailout or decompression gases. So my top tip for this video would be to have several of these retaining straps pre-tied around your cylinder, because quite often they do snap because they're quite cheap and easily broke and caught along wrecks or rocks or whatever. So that if you've got several, it just makes keeping your regulators and your hoses nice and tidy much easier if one of them was to snap. So 2 or 3 more than what you think you need is always a benefit. If it's been of some use to you, make sure you give us a thumbs up. If you've got any questions or comments or different ways of doing that, leave them in the comments box below. I'll be sure I get back to you. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.
See you on Insta.